Go ahead.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, folks, or morning, whatever it is. It's a nice day today. It's a beautiful day today. And we're all enjoying the good weather while it lasts, you know. Rainy season will be upon us in no time at all. And what we talked about last time was something had to do with Pearl Harbor and something that had to do with the Second World War. And the thing I wanted to talk about today was, or ask a question. How safe do you feel? You know, we're citizens of the United States, but how safe do you feel? I'll tell you some folks that didn't feel so safe. That's 120,000 Japanese. In February of 1942, FDR, those of you that remember, or Franklin Delano Roosevelt, signed a executive order. And that executive order said, and I'm paraphrasing, is that Japanese ancestry in western United States would need to be put into a internment camp. And what I can discover about it after the fact, the readings about it, is that it was very much like a prison camp. So what they did was they took the Japanese Americans, now Japanese Americans is an important word, and put them in concentration camps, like prisoners of war. And there's something about a day of remembrance and all that. But how safe did they feel? They must not have felt very safe. Let me tell you about my personal experience with it. Is in 1942, or just before that, we would drive down the road here from Auburn, I lived in Auburn, to Kent, and we would get all kinds of wonderful vegetables. There were truck gardens galore. There are still some out there, I see, but it's nothing like it was, nothing at all. And the question is, what right did our government have to incarcerate all of those people? And not only that, but they lost their land and their homes and all that stuff. And nevertheless, there was a unit of Japanese soldiers that fought in Europe, which was okay because, you know, Japanese looked different than Americans. So they could tell in Europe whether they were Americans or Japanese. It didn't matter because they were American soldiers, and they did some very fine work with helping get the Nazi thing out of the way for Europeans to fight themselves, and that must have been somebody's watch. Anyway, Just a question. What are we? We are Americans. They were Americans. Do you have to look a certain way? Or if you look a certain way, are you in jeopardy? We hope that that never happens again, because it was unfair, and it was, I think our government didn't know what else to do. And so they were caught with their pants down, so to speak, and with their ship sunk, and they just didn't know what to do. So they put them all in concentration camps, and that was our loss in a couple of ways. So.
Do you think that was fear-driven?
Pardon me?
Was that fear-driven?
Absolutely. The West Coast was fear-driven. It's like, remember I mentioned before, I was in what the heck grade was I in? I was in well, anyway, I was at school in Auburn, and there were these Japanese children that were in the classroom, and actually, you know, you heard the story of dipping pigtails in inkwells. Well, I was one of those culprits. But one day the Japanese children all disappeared. Didn't think anything of it for a day or two. And then we raised the question, where'd they go? And I was hard-pressed to even think that these children could have something to do with that war. But they did. They were also prisoners, and they were people who did not benefit by the war until later. But even then, they didn't get their land back or their homes back or none of that stuff. So, there's a question for you. Do you have to look like an American soldier? What do you have to look like to be exempt from being put in a concentration camp? Will it come to things like the Russians did, which if you didn't think a certain way, if you talked a certain way, you got put into a very cold concentration camp. Now, ours weren't cold. They were all in California. And there were also some German soldiers that were in California and that were prisoners, and they were due to be shot and or to be killed. And but the war was over. But there was a message that they were going to do it anyway, but they didn't. So that was good. That was good. But the Germans, were German citizens. That was you know, you put them in the camp, but you don't put Americans in the camp unless there's something drastically wrong with what they're doing. And I want to warn everybody that happens to be listening, if any, that that could happen again. And what we don't want to happen as citizens of this country is anything like that to ever happen again. And that was very much of a racial thing, and we should be getting by that. So, anyway.
Do you think we're smarter today than we were then? Or more informed?
More informed, yeah. Probably more informed, a lot more informed, and we got a lot more weapons too. Because, you know, they sunk a bunch of battleships, and so we went to work building aircraft carriers, and that's what we needed, was aircraft carriers, and that's what did the trick eventually. But it was the Japanese were hardened soldiers. They had been at war with the Chinese. They had overrun the Chinese in spots, and they had done some terrible things there. But the Japanese are not that way today. I hope. I hope we're not that way today. So we need to be more humane with each other and with the people on the earth. And we better pay attention to these people that are just want to do things to people. For instance, a highly socialist government, which is what Nazism was, and along with the tragedies, and the Russians and the Chinese. I don't know if you could call that a true socialism anyway, but anyway, we got to watch out for that. We don't want to lose our country, we don't want to lose our democracy, and we don't want to put the wrong people in jail. So that's all I got to say today.
Awesome. Awesome, Dad. Say goodbye.
Bye. If you got something to say, send it to ivan.fraser@gmail.com. And keep in mind that if you want the best kind of way to raise money for your nonprofit organization, look to the people who what is the word?
Stokes Auction Group.
Yeah, there you are. That's auction group. So that's it. I'll see you guys next time. And if you got something to say, send it to me. 'Cause, you know, I'll read it. All right. Thank you, and so long. I might even find a Bigfoot for you next time, but I'm not having any luck with that lately out there in the woods. But, you know, there's some bear stuff out there, but there's no Bigfoot. So besides that, you know, there may be spirit animals anyway. So, well, we talked about that once before. So I'll see you.